Hi Barons, my name is Finn VSL, the top laner for Astralis, and I'm here to sell you one thing and one thing only. A miracle run rivaling only the Schalke one from 2020. Astralis, 0-4 start. I know, it looks grim. It looks grim, I know it. I know it the most out of anyone. But I promise you, if we get this one win today, we're gonna make it into a complete miracle run and surprise everyone.
I mean, sounds about right so far, and I'm hyped about Astralis making it to the group stage, but I'm mostly hyped about Finn joining you in between.
Yeah, the thing is, Finn said, we shook hands, you didn't see it, but we shook hands. If he makes the miracle run happen, we're going to get him on between two Iverns, and he only needs one more win to guarantee that that's going to happen.
That is the top tier content we want, but before we let any of this happen, let's take a look at the standings here and remind you guys the stake for this game. It's easy. If you win, you're in. If you lose, you want to be the biggest SK Gaming fan here.
Exactly. And that is like a scary white line right there at the bottom of the table.
Yeah,
because
you don't want to cross this one.
If you lose, you have like a chance that's still there. You're going to be minimum at a tiebreaker.
Exactly.
If Fnatic win. So there's a lot to be played through, particularly in this game and the one after.
And it's going to be an amazing game. And KOI versus Astralis. Let's take a look at Astralis to begin with. We just saw Finn now in the video, and I want to talk about him because for the past 3 games, I think he's been the centerpiece of this Astralis lineup, both on GP on first day and with Gnar yesterday, saving the team.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Gangplank just absolutely insane. Put the team on the back, won some critical team fights at the end, which is fantastic. But I actually loved when we got to hear from yesterday's match, the comms leading into the team fights. I mean, the barrel is just absurd right there. But the way he tries to get in on a flank on the Gnar, charge up his Mega by auto-attacking the Dragon, and then getting this huge ult into the wall while telling his team to settle down. Like, he was leading in that game for the team while also just carrying.
And there are some really fun bits to tag onto this. One, you know, a lot of people were doubting what's going to happen with Finn, come back from NA, you know, after playing over there for a bit. Hadn't really found his feet at that point, and it's a bot lane centric meta. It's all about bot lane getting ahead. Finn is completely putting these worries to rest. I think he's, as you said, really being a leader and really getting involved in the game in important ways.
And I think showing that like GP is a pick for them as well, because I think we've seen a lot of like these like more like safe blind pick tops like Cassantes, Gnars, like these types of picks coming around, and the fact that you can throw a GP on there, guarantee strong scaling, really punish the range squishy supports in the bot lane, and ultimate just absolutely kills them when like level 6 comes in. I think that's a really strong look for Astralis and something they will tap into if and when they make it into the bracket stage.
And on a bit more psychological approach, I always find it interesting when it's the top laner filling the role of the leader for the team, and this is what Kobbe was telling us yesterday, the fact that he's the one having an infectious energy, the word that we were looking for actually being on air. But yeah, the amount of comfort and reassurance that he brought to this Astralis lineup, and I mean, riding the momentum right now, maybe he's the one helping them making it to group stage.
Yeah, I mean, you literally heard it. Like, he came in to do the segment we showed you, the Baron Pit thing. He came in like 3 hours before his game to record that with us, and he just performed. Like, he's absolute pleasure to be around. Like, I don't know, you feel it when you're in the same room with him, and I think that when a team drops 4 games at the start, 5 games, he lost that game as well, and is able to come back, that shows you there's something special there, because so many teams would fall down to that, especially with the new schedule where it can all go to pieces and they would just implode.
I mean, we saw teams collapsing, but Astralis is the opposite actually. But we are excited about the mood, the players, the energy they have, the way they approach team fights. But Nymaera, what else are we hyped about when it comes to Astralis right now?
I think it really has been. I want to go back to that format actually, because one thing, I've been chatting to a couple of the players between games. I was chatting to some of the SK players after their devastating loss against Astralis, because they had that huge lead and it all fell apart. And we haven't really seen a team lose that from that kind of lead at this point. The format, because you have an extra game day per week, you have 1 less day of scrims, you only have 3 weeks to figure things out. It is so difficult to try and build on things. We've seen teams trying to like cobble things together, just get through this week, that'll be fine. It is so ruthless. To see a team actually actively improving, making things click, for me, you have to put an extra stage of difficulty on there because of the format factoring in as well.
And on the other side of the table, we have KOI, and I think here it's going to be a different story. I don't feel like this KOI lineup is the one that we've been used to seeing with Rogue for the past 2.5 years. We talked about this in Reddit check, and they're maybe the worst regular season so far.
Yeah, I mean, this is always the first place regular season BO1 champion team. But I mean, after making the one roster change, I feel like this is a team that has still sort of struggled to find its identity. Malrang in the jungle has been a little bit more flippy, I feel like, than in past years. Like, I'm thinking of the Elise game where it was just like one gank doesn't work out, so then he sits and waits for another one. It doesn't work, and it just was like this domino effect of continuing to try, and then you find yourself 2 levels behind the enemy AD. You're not even level 6 yet.
At the start of the weekend, I made a reference. You know that one scene in Avatar: The Last Airbender where like the KOI dies and everything's awful and like someone's girlfriend becomes the moon, stuff like that?
What?
Gotta remind people, the fish ain't dead. Okay, yeah, let me cook. So the thing is, the fish isn't dead yet. KOI is still actually hanging in there. I think actually looking at where they are now compared to at the start of... Stop laughing. Compared to where things were at the start of the weekend, they're in a much better position and they are in control of their own fate. And I think that does change things in terms of the mentality. They've managed to right the ship and carry on, really.
But what I don't quite understand about this KOI lineup is that players, and I'm thinking of Larssen in a M- interview and Trymbi when we talked to him in PGL, they keep on saying that changing top did not affect the dynamic of the team so much, which is interesting because replacing Odo with Szygenda, you would expect a more carry-oriented top lane, but how did it not translate in game so far? And it doesn't feel like you have the same energy and dynamic with KOI right now, despite what the players are saying.
I don't know. I'm not sure if I fully agree with that, because I think especially in week 1, like a lot of Malrang's pathing sent him up towards the top side of the map. So it did seem like there was more attention there than in previous weeks. But I do think that like maybe there's an element of Comp and Trymbi maybe not being quite as dominant as a duo lane as they were last summer, right? That maybe encourages Malrang to path towards the opposite side of the map if they're not going to be in a favorable matchup, or hey, it's, you know, range supports. We don't really feel like we can dive if Trymbi's playing something a little bit more passive. So I don't know. I feel like there's maybe multiple things at play here for KOI, and that is maybe why they're saying, oh, the change didn't cause why, you know, we're mixing up our playstyle a bit. There's more elements at play.
There's also some numbers to that too. If you compare the amount of times which Comp and Trymbi have been ahead in laning phase compared to the entirety of last year, they're about ahead half the time they were last year. That is crazy. They used to be ahead 2/3 of the time, and only 1/3. Part of that's due to the jungling, part of that's due to, I think, in terms of just form and confidence too. But they still got it. They've got a chance to be able to kind of right things right at the death of the split.
And I think it's really interesting here when you talk about form and confidence, because it echoes with what Trymbi told us during PGL 2 days ago, the fact that he actually, confidence was shaken a bit and he couldn't find himself the way he used to with Comp. And this is something we noticed. For me, the KOI bot lane is not the same one we had with Rogue last year, and they don't have the same impact.
Yeah, it's like strange too, because I feel like, I don't know, this feels like a meta where they should be very comfortable. Like Trymbi's always been like all aboard the range support hype train.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, sweet, if he's playing Ashe, Heimerdinger, like they're going to be popping off. And I don't think they've been poor necessarily, but I think that compared to, again, last summer where they were like clearly the top 1, top 2 duo lanes in the bot side of the map, like it just feels like with maybe the return of like Crowny in the bot side, like there's a lot more of these duo lanes. The Hillisang duo is popping off. Mickey, Hans, like there's actually a lot of bot lane talent that's returned to the scene, giving them a lot more competition, and that's coming into play here.
And actually, one thing which I kind of picked up from this too, because I was trying to, it is really hard to try and kind of diagnose what the heck went on with KOI, and it does feel like, again, they're finding something to go towards. One thing I noticed that when you look at their top lane champion pool and also AD carry champion pool, they played a different champion every game, except once they have like one, I think it's like Renekton they've played twice, and maybe it's something like Sivir they've played twice as well. I think they've been quite indecisive about actually what is their identity and their comfort, what can they build around. They've had a little bit more stability in mid-jungle, but when we consider how important their bot lane was, again, and most of this conversation has been framed around that, the fact that they don't have like their go-to blind pick, stick to our guns down in that bot lane, I think that's something which they've had to learn. And I'm wondering actually if they've found that by now, because they don't have much time to really settle on something that they like to go towards.
And diving a bit more into today's matchup, you have on one side Astralis recovering and riding the momentum that they've been building for the past 3 games. And on the other side, you have KOI trying to recover from a couple slip-ups at the beginning of the season. What is going to come to play here, and where do we want want to look at in the early game, especially?
I mean, in the early game, like Malrang's still going to be looking for very early ganks. Like, even though, like, looking at like his CS and gold at 14, like typically 9th, 10th place, like in the league, because he's spending so much time around the lanes. But still, #1 first blood percentage out of all junglers in the LEC. No real surprise there. But I do think that if I'm Astralis coming into this match, I'm probably trying to again bank a little bit more into the scaling category, try to weather the Malrang storm. Like maybe group up to put down early vision inside Malrang's jungle, get an idea of what he wants to do on the map, because if you can avoid that, we have seen KOI struggle to close through games.
Yeah, but what we've seen from Astralis on the other side is kind of like they've been trying to get at least their solo laners into teamfight impact. It hasn't necessarily been through early skirmishes, through something like a mid-jungle kind of 2v2. It has felt like they're trying to like hold things steady until it comes around to, say, yesterday against Fnatic. Big dragon fight, something where all 5 people are on the screen at the same time. I wonder if we're going to see like a battle of strength versus strength when it comes to these objective fights, and whether it's going to be about the differences in execution around big objectives.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing how interesting it's in game. And I know you guys as well at home. So to give you guys a bit of context, we have a delay on stage. As you may have noticed, League officials are investigating peripheral issues, which gives us the time to dive a bit more.
And Finn's investigating the camera.
Team is investigating. Oh. Wow.
They just wanted to give us more time to look for really obscure references.
Yeah. Fishes transforming into moons and
it's really
stuff
simple
like
if you think
this.
about it.
No.
Yeah, sorry, wait, can we go back to the moons thing? Because I'm still completely
Yeah, I want
lost.
context on this.
Yeah, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like these 2 fish, which is symbolic of the moon. One of them dies, and then someone has to sacrifice, like their girlfriend, like dies and becomes the moon.
The moon?
It's been a while since I watched it. I just saw a KOI on screen. I'm like, I'm having
Also,
that.
spoilers.
It's like 15 years old.
Avatar just came out like 2 months ago. What are you talking about?
Not the same lore.
I'll have you know. Wait, are they on red side or blue side? Because if it's on blue side, that's fitting. You know, the blue people in the other Avatar.
Yeah, okay.
Really clutching at straws.
Nice. That is filler content right there. No?
Okay,
you're not on board?
I want to refocus here and talk about actually the draft,
good.
because you
Someone
were
has to.
mentioning side
Yeah.
selection. We talked about Trymbi, his impact playing the support with champions like Ashe. What kind of picks do we want to see here on this side of KOI, and what do you want to focus on?
It's great that you mentioned that, because actually during the break we were trying to see if we could like fish for any last minute kind of
again.
stats and stuff like. It's just on the brain. It's going to be there. Bear with me. But when we were looking at some of the stats, actually the stats in terms of what I thought would be was a lot more presence of KOI towards mid lane, setting up Larssen. It felt like they were defending him more. It wasn't necessarily through that though. It was long range supports like Ashe impacting from afar.
We'll see if that's the direction they take, maybe, as we will give everything to the casters now for KOI versus Astralis. Initialise and Vedius, take it away.
Well, seems like the analyst desk was living in harmony, but then the cast desk is going to start attacking, and I'll leave the Avatar references well and truly in the past from there.
We have a pretty important game ahead of us,
do.
KOI versus Astralis. There is a lot on the line for both these teams as they fight for a spot in the top 8. A winner secures a spot in the group stage.
Yes,
that's it.
they do.
Now, the loser will guarantee at worst a tiebreaker, so it's not the end of the world if one of these teams do in fact lose. But a win is ideally what they both want.
Yeah, they want to go in on their own terms with that victory behind them, but it does mean this game is pretty high pressure for both these teams, and not the best start to the splits for either of them, but it does feel that both have kind of started to turn the ship around. But it all comes down to this in a lot of ways.
It certainly does. So let's have a look at the draft. The Rise being taken away from Dajor makes a lot of sense. The Lucian also being removed from the pool, along with the Caitlyn and the Ashe. So nothing too crazy, nothing too surprising. Everything's sort of going as expected. The question is, what does this priority what does this priority bring? What is the priority, rather? Maokai is still a champion that is very prevalent in the current meta. We know that KOI is more than happy to play it, with the Ezreal being removed, taken away from Kobbe, something that he has often lent on this split.
That's a lot of AD carry bans. There's the Kled
there's
as well.
another one. That's
5 AD carries in a Rise. Welcome to EU, everybody. And there is a first pick Zeri to round out a 6th AD carry.
Okay, so they're calling out 113 now. Yet to play Maokai this split. The crowd is upset at the hover from Yuumi. question is, what do you pair with
It's
this?
in. There we go. Okay. Ezreal is up. No, it's not. It's down. It's banned. I can't read the screen, apparently. Not going to reveal it as yet. They're debating something like a jungler. Has often been an R2 option.
So this is something that KOI have just straight up called out Astralis. You don't play Maokai. So they don't need to first pick Maokai. They can get themselves the Zeri, which they feel is the stronger part of this combination. Remember, you can just pair it up with a Lulu. Trymbi is more than happy to play range supports. You could maybe even pair it up with a Soraka if they feel that that is a stronger answer into the cat. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the Maokai lock in alongside the support. They maybe even want to get themselves the Azir here if, well, okay, no, they've locked in the Lulu. I was going to say maybe they want to save the support for later on if they feel like that they have a lot of options, but they've decided, no, we're just going to guarantee us the Lulu. We know that Zeri Lulu is a very reliable bot lane. Let's round things out now with the Maokai. I think that they might be talking more about other options later in the game, unless they're also thinking about something like a Jarvan or maybe a Vi, which are also very well known for Malrang. This would surprise me.
It's in.
This has surprised me.
It has, in fact, surprised you.
So I think that the reason why they're doing this is because the list of junglers that I just presented is Malrang's pool. Yeah. He has 3 that he can choose from right now, which is Maokai, Jarvan, Vi. All 3 viable, all 3 work in this composition. So there's no need to prioritize it. Instead, take Dajor off of his most played this split. You can also steal away the Sejuani ultimate, thanks to the Sylas. And you also deny that mid-jungle combo, and Larssen, we know, is very experienced on the champion over as many years here in the LEC. But rounding things out with the Sivir, Astralis getting themselves a very powerful scaling composition themselves. We know that last split, Sivir came out as an answer to the Zeri in the bot lane. The ability to get that push already in the 2 versus 2 is very powerful. Your team fighting later into the game is something that is, I mean, I feel it can match the Zeri's. Of course, her kite ability is something that can be difficult to deal with, but the raw team fight damage that a Sivir can throw out is
pretty amazing.
Yeah. Exactly. Very, very terrifying. And now the Maokai has been banned away. So Astralis can't ban all of the jungle champions. Of course, Malrang is going to have something that he can play, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a Jarvan removed because we know how
it would be a specialty of his. I can see why that ban comes through. Instead, they'll go towards the Renekton, and the Szygenda is something that Szygenda very famous for, was playing that a lot back in the ERL, so decide that's something they want off the table.
Seems that way. Does suggest that Finn is looking at a K'Sante. Will they, in fact, go for it, though? Remember that K'Sante is kind of like fallen to the wayside. Still been banned, still considered pretty strong, but in Europe, not the best win rate. Hasn't had that much success. But I do think one of the main issues with K'Sante is it's not always paired up with, like, engage elsewhere.
Yeah.
He's not the best champion for starting off fights. Now, Irelia is pretty interesting. Finn,
he
for those
was
that
an
don't
Irelia
know,
player,
yeah,
wasn't he?
Kled Irelia was why he used to play top lane. Those are his go-to champions.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so they've decided to get a different melee mid laner and pair that up with the Sejuani as an answer to the Sylas. This will be for Dajor. We have seen his Yone before. I believe we saw it last split. He's very confident on these styles of champions. Whether or not it will work is yet to be seen. But now the Irelia ban makes a lot of sense with the Gnar coming through from Szygenda. Something safe, something blind they can play on the top side of the map. How will they round out their engage here from KOI?
Going through a few more unusual junglers, but instead they'll settle back on the tried and true in the Wukong.
Does make a lot of sense. Gives you good knockup, good follow-up, pairs alongside the Sylas quite well. The responsibility of comp probably to peel for himself for the most part this game, which makes a lot of sense. And the Kled will be locked in. We were just talking about
yes.
Finn, he was known as an Irelia player and a Kled player. And what better way to round out his Winter Split than with his signature tried and true Kled champion into the Gnar. He's comfortable in the matchup, he knows the matchup, and it just fits the comp that they have. It's all about speed, the fast, the go in, go hard, go for the fight. They're going to have a lot of tools to basically start any fight that they want to with the Kled ultimate, with the Sivir ultimate, with the Yuumi ultimate, with the Sejuani ultimate. Like, there's a lot of things that all pair very nicely together, and Astralis saying, scale, team fight, get ready to dance. I'm expecting another bloody game from both these teams.
I am very, very excited. And Finn, a player who's really stepped up this week, picks up a signature champion in a game that could get them into groups if they can find the win. You absolutely love to see it. And you're right, it feels like, you know, we're in Germany, the home of the Autobahn. They've got a lot of ways to set a highway up and start running at their opposition at about Mach 10.
Fun fact, Finn has 16 professional games on Kled, and he has a 75% win rate.
Ooh.
12 wins, 4 losses. The man is very good at the champion. It is his highest win rate champion in his professional career. And what better time to bring it out? A win here will lock you a spot in the group stage. The best of 3 is next week. A loss will guarantee you at least a tiebreaker. But both these teams want to secure that win.
It is a must-win game in so many ways, but to see how it plays out, well, we've got to get into the rift, haven't we? Hit the lights. No crazy level 1s as yet.
Hang on.
But
Hang on.
yeah, maybe
They're
let 'em cook.
posturing for an invade here. Finn paired up with 113. They obviously can't both go over the wall. But what are they looking for? I know what they're waiting for. They're waiting for Malrang to ward the Raptors. Let's see if he'll do it.
Go on. He's thinking about it.
Think about it.
Come on, you know you want to do it. Just face check the
The
Kled.
little monkey gonna go into the jungle?
It's your home.
No, he's
No,
not.
that's disappointing.
His monkey senses were tingling.
Is it like a spider sense? But
Okay, I was trying to be more subtle there. But yes, it was a Spider-Man
okay, fine.
reference. Thank you.
fine. Okay, I've ruined the reference. That's my fault. I'm new to this, right? Okay. Szygenda will spot the attempted bait that was there. The monkey senses were in fact accurate. Little note from production, by the way. Your last Yone game was in 2022, last year, versus none other than Rogue, who of course now KOI, and it was a loss.
Yes, it was in fact a loss. Let's see if history will repeat itself. This bot lane. There's a bot lane that we have our eyes on a lot. Comp and Trymbi, a topic of conversation around their performance. I feel like that they've had highs and lows this split. We've seen them absolutely dominate the 2 versus 2, and we've seen them be 2v2 killed a couple times against bot lanes that I wasn't expecting them to get 2v2 killed by. Meanwhile, Kobbe has really been on a tear.
He really has. And I think even when games have like critically fallen apart in the top side, it does feel like Kobbe and JeongHoon have been really, really bright sparks despite difficult games, which is very hard to do sometimes to bot laner, where you can get stifled out of a game as an AD carry or a support quite easy, and Kobbe and JeongHoon have been relatively solid in making sure that doesn't happen all too often.
I agree. It's the team fights where I think Kobbe has definitely stepped up, and I'm excited to see what he can do as he gains more levels. Now, 113 has done a full top side clear, has his eyes on a gank for Szygenda, or maybe just a top lane invade. Dajor does have the push in mid for now, but notice that Malrang is on his way, and he's just getting information. So 113, what would you do with this information? He's a bit hesitant right now.
He's kind of caught between 2 choices. Malrang on those wolves. Have a smite available. 113
might fast enough.
This could be a bit stuff. I'm kind of there with you. I think this is a risk. Maybe that dithering will cost him here. Down to about 1,000, 987. It will be a smite fight. Malrang can step forward. He's going to back away and give it up. Surely. Reset.
So the problem you now have is you've wasted a lot of time. You've basically given Malrang a leash, and he's now 2 camps up over you. And he can just move over to the Gromp if he wants to. Of course, Szygenda's going to be forced to play a little bit defensively. Malrang has found his way into the river, though. I don't think you want to go for this fight. Looks like he's not going to. Dajor, keep your eyes on the minimap once again. As Finn goes in for a bit of a trade.
Gets a big chunk out with that bear trap on a roach. Szygenda will trade back with the hype proc and dismounts from Skull. Start throwing out that bluntness.
That was a big wave there that Finn couldn't really afford to lose. Malrang just hovering for the time being. You can see that 113's pathing is a little bit awkward right now. He will secure the top Scuttle Crab. He'll be like, okay, it's fine. Ideally, he wants to move into the pot side of the map.
Yeah. Another option here is a gankable one. Another melee champion, as Malrang is going to be here as well. This would be a 2v2. I think he spotted the Ghost Walker.
Oh, but he's after the respawn.
Oh, comes and gets on top of Monkey. He's going to get chunked out. Down to a lot of damage. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Maybe hop over that wall on the other side. Dajor trading up with Larssen. Multiple skirmishes happening as Larssen will abduct his way towards a minion. Dajor throws out the E. Malrang still being chunked on as Finn comes charging on down. Szygenda now trading up with his opposition. And 113 gets the solo kill.
What?
What? The monkey senses, they failed him.
Wow. I think that's the first time I've ever just seen a Sejuani straight up solo kill a Wukong. Not to say that, like,
it can't be done.
I can see a Sejuani solo killing a Wukong. I've just in a professional game never just seen this happen. Like, okay, so Malrang is after, he thinks the 113 has moved to his bot side camps. That's rational. But 113 is still here. And Malrang's kind of confused at this point. He's like, well, okay, I can just path towards my top laner. I should be fine. Which, again, is correct. But then he realizes that Finn can flash in, Malrang flashes over, but now he doesn't have flash. And he uses the W to try and create space, but there's nowhere for him to go, so 113 chases him down. At the end of the day, I think that largely just comes from the fact that Malrang didn't want to invest his flash early. If he had just flashed into the Baron pit, he would have been able to walk away to safety and continued with his pathing. But now, 113 gets both Scuttle Crabs, secures first blood, has his whole bot side camp that he can go and clear, and looking pretty comfortable in this early game.
And that's after the kind of dithering and the failed blue buff invade, where it felt like Malrang kind of had the edge up in the early pathing and turned around off a little bit of greediness and holding onto that summoner.
113 though, looking for a mid play.
Gonna have that Q3, gets the double knock-up, Larssen flashes away, and they won't quite get the permafrost lockdown.
So no hesitation from Larssen there. He did not want to risk it, immediately flashes to safety. And that will be another small advantage gained. But this is what we like to see from Sejuani's in the early game. Oh, invading from 113.
Here we go. Round 3, it feels like at this point. Permafrost comes down. That was smite secured by Malrang. Does get away with that one. More step back away. Larssen still trapped under tower, but now has the level 6. 113 might have to be a little bit afraid here, because it's a world where stolen ultimate could put him in trouble, but nothing to be had for now, and the invade doesn't amount to too much.
Dajor though doing really well in the 1v1 matchup. Kobbe wants to try and hold this wave as much as he can, but will be forced underneath the tower. But what's interesting about the Sylas into Yone matchup is Sylas works best in short burst trades, right? Early levels, not that strong, very high cooldowns. While you do get that small heal back, you can largely mitigate it with the shield from the Yone, you see? So like often these early trades, the fact that Dajor can just keep hitting you with his basic attacks and stack up that passive as well for the knockup. Yone just in these extended trades in the early game will often come out on top. Dajor's playing it well. The fact that he's burned his flash, Larssen also is even more paranoid. You can see how quickly Dajor is continuing to push in these waves. Larssen already lost the TP. Means that Dajor actually getting the better of Larssen in the 1v1.
Playing this one out very well. Looking to get a little bit of comeuppance from that last game that went down. Another little stat bomb from Production, who did call out what you did earlier as well. 22 games on Kled.
Oh, so my stats are actually wrong. Okay.
And that's what Production has for you. They've gone back and pulled out the numbers as we stand, and 113 Dajor looking to add a couple more wins to the total for Finn. Well, at least the one in this game. Szygenda, Mega Gnar coming up, so risky dive. Back off out.
Looks like they're not going to be able to get much off the back of this. Keep my eyes on the Dragon right now. Maybe a cross-map option. But it looks like they didn't spot out 113. Now they should, though. Wonder if Malrang will consider it. They have the potion. They have the push in bot lane.
I'm going to position push. They're just very middle class.
Oh, awfully posh. Did we bring the tea?
That's how we fix the accent problem.
Yeah. We are both. We do sound like very middle class. Quite right. Yes.
Quite, yes.
We say our waters with a T. Only the British people are going to get that joke. Water.
Kettle of. Kettle, yeah.
How's it going, love?
I'm from Nottingham, so I don't pronounce my T's that well, actually.
Yeah, same, mate. I literally say water all the time. They're all like,
we are the problem.
It's water. Yeah, it is. I feel like the T is just unnecessary.
Yeah, it's a silent T.
Yeah. Yeah. If the English can have a silent K, we can have a silent T, all right?
Just got that Monty Python reference, Kniggets all everywhere.
Having a look at the map right now. Finn is in position to contest. He is losing a decent amount of farm on the top side, though, but looks like the cross map is just going to come through. Okay.
He's a rabbit.
He's not going to get the play either. Okay, so KOI were able to secure the Herald. It was a bit awkward for Astralis. Finn had a big wave on top that he needed to catch. The bot lane couldn't really rotate and contest. They felt, well, not strong enough to actually fight for that, so they will accept that they won't be able to secure that over the objective. Though Finn going for a bit of an exchange. I don't expect him to be able to get a kill here.
Bear trap on the road, and then is finally dismounted. Now going to look and try and find a way to get remounted as the reverse trade, that turnaround from Szygenda with the Hyperprox is enough to force Finn back there.
You really don't want to trade into that giant minion wave if you're Szygenda. But keep your eyes on Malrang here, of course. is sneaking his way into the bot lane. Looks like he hasn't been spotted. Observers, if we can see what Astralis can see right now.
The bot lane is dark and full of monkeys. Kobbe stepping forward. Going forwards, the turnaround is huge. Glacial Prison finds the time, but Kobbe is out for now. 1-1-3 though might be the sacrificial ball, but he's out for now.
Wow, the phase rush coming in clutch there for 1-1-3, able to get away to safety. A great gank from KOI. Catches Astralis' bot lane completely off guard. Every single summoner spell was used. And there should be a small advantage gained. Looks like Malrang could even steal away a couple camps.
Larssen with the clutch abscond. Starts to duck back in, and they are feeling a little bit rough to miss that Mortal Will stack 3.
But overall, small advantage gained for KOI. You can see the gold lead starting to build in their favor as another plate goes over. 800 is the gold lead for now, largely just being built by Comp in the isolated 1v1. Kind of going as expected. Sivir, once she gets that first item, will have a little bit more wave clear. The levels are really important. Around level 9, you've got more points in your wave clear. It means that you will be in a better position to actually contest that wave. JeongHoon now pairing up with 1-1-3, looking for a bit of information. Some deep wards. And, I thought they might try and steal away some camps, but decided against it. Malrang now will be spotted.
Indeed. And they go again. Mid lane is trading back and forth. Nice turnaround from Larssen, steals away the Fate Seal, won't use it as yet. And there's Trymbi spotting at 1-1-3 and JeongHoon. And that Raptor camp still up, actually resets. So clearly a little bit of drama as Kong is going to get engaged on. Doesn't have many ways out, but of course does have E, so can just get over the wall with a nice slide.
Look at Dajor though, making his way over. 1-1-3, when is that ultimate up? I'm keeping my eyes on it. It's about 5 more seconds. You can see the countdown timer. They're looking for a play. Malrang goes in.
Malrang is in, but decides against anything further. Still has that Herald in inventory, yet to drop it. Attempted scuffle there, warded off, and nothing too much comes of it for now.
So just the waves continue to be pushed. Tension continues to mount. Astralis are not giving up on these bot plates. They want to try and get Kobbe as much gold as possible. You can see dead even between the two AD carries right now. And reminder, the winner of this game will lock spot in the group stage. The loser, not out. Guaranteed a tiebreaker depending on the result of our game 3. But we'll keep you updated as the day goes on. For now, the stakes for both these teams, a win. As you rightly said earlier, it's just within your own control, right? You get to decide whether you move forward into the group stage. And you just have a lot more agency. Being able to qualify it definitely feels that much better. It's surprising though to see KOI in this position when you contrast it to a team like Astralis.
Yeah, it really, really is. And you know, the history of these two teams just could not be any different.
You look across the board, 9th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 9th. The meme of Astralis has been strong. Whereas KOI, this team is known for finishing at the top of the regular season kings, they've been known as. Multiple seasons where they've finished incredibly strong. Last split, they were a little bit shaky, but of course, last split was with the split where they won
the whole thing.
So the fact that both teams would be in this position, sure, not that uncharacteristic for Astralis, fighting for that last semblance of an opportunity to get into further in the competition, for KOI to be alongside them is definitely a sight that not many really expected. And so far this game, it's not been an early dominant KOI. Kind of to be expected. They do have a strong scaling bot and mid. But the question is, do they really have better scaling? And I would argue that they don't. I think that the longer this game goes on, Astralis, I favor their team fighting more, but we'll see how things play out.
This time around, not as easy for Zeri to stay safe. A lot of ways to keep chasing a Zeri who runs away. A lot of melee synergy for that. Sejuani and back down towards his bot side. Both junglers here again. Comp will spark Surge. Kobbe will throw the on the hunt and start to run away. Potential turnaround coming through, but 1-1-3 will just help clear out the wave alongside Kobbe's boomerang blades, and that'll be the end of that.
That will be the end of that. An ult used, nothing much else. Dragon spawning in 40 seconds, which will hurt Astralis' ability to actually fight. But again, not the end of the world. Finn going to look to reset now. May very well make his way down towards the bot side. Dajor also pushing out this mid wave as TPs now become unleashed. So, you have options here. You can send Dajor actually to go and catch the top wave if you want to. For the time being, though, they are going to have Finn go and catch it. Not the end of the world, because the difference between the two top laners here will be Szygenda will just go back to base, potentially TP into the Drake, or already start making his way down there right now. Whereas Finn actually going to abandon that top wave and start making his way down. Thought he might catch that top wave and move. Larssen, though, looking for 113.
113 does not get caught with the Glacial Prism that was stolen from him. Still taken pretty low. The final chapter comes out. Yuumi, Finn comes charging on in on Skull, but is polymorphed into a snowman courtesy of Trymbi. Kobbe is here. Ghost pop. Szygenda beginning to hit some of those autos, but no one dies. Just ultimates popped.
So you can see one of the constraints of Astralis' comp is its range. You do have 3 melee champions on the top side in Kobbe, while, of course, still playing an AD carry on the shorter range end of things. One of the reasons why Malrang went for this Wukong is you have to come into me, which is the best situation for a Wukong to be in. Comp could also leverage his range on the Zeri to kind of kite around and make life difficult. So that initial engage from Astralis is really important.
Yeah.
How they start that fight is very crucial to the success of how the team fight is actually played. If these ultimates are used haphazardly and they don't quite gain access onto the backline, then players like Comp are just going to dance around you and make your life difficult. So
yeah.
Even if I do think that Astralis have slightly better scaling, the execution is still something that they're going to have to work on.
Yeah, and, you know, one of those players that has been executing really well this week that you've just asked to be one of those players making things happen is Finn, who has had a rough start to the split, but has really stepped it up this week. The Gangplank, the Gnar, both phenomenal. Now on a signature pick in the Kled. A lot of his onus to make these fights work.
And looking to get him a kill now. Szygenda does have the flash.
Start to make that one work. Finn, the man of the moment, trying to get this kill before the Mega Gnar comes through. Lands it though, Szygenda with the wall up afterwards. Malrang's here alongside Larssen, and maybe, just maybe, it was a bit of a curse. In comes Trymbi as well. He's dismounted. He just can't find his way back onto Skull, and he falls the moment we talk about him.
So I want to clarify in the replay, but I think that 113 didn't get the kill in the hopes of handing it over to Finn. And if he had just landed one more auto attack, I believe he could have just gotten that kill. But that brief moment of hesitation was all it took for Szygenda to get the Mega Gnar, land the ultimate, and turn the play around. A great collapse from KOI means that they now get themselves on the kill board, and they secure themselves a 1k gold lead. But let's have a look back at this. 113 navigating his way through vision. Szygenda feels safe because, look, Herald's up, his team has control over the river. What does he have to be concerned about right now? Let's have a look at this. The chain CC is good. Finn ends up being dismounted. The damage is good here. And one more auto attack! And he could have secured that kill, and like maybe Szygenda actually would have turned into like... But I feel like the 113 just
I think that's an auto attack.
Yeah. That brief moment of hesitation cost them so much. Finn will lose his life. The Herald will be secured. Frustration on the face of Finn. He knows that it's not completely over yet. Still a lot of this game left to be played, but a frustrating kill to give away.
Fine margins. Costs the top tower at the end as well. Of course, it's still a turret for a turret because bot side fell as well. Second Herald is in Malrang's inventory. Can look to maybe broke open that remaining outer tower in the mid lane. The game remains relatively close, but that is our first big advantage going one way or the other.
Definitely true. Both Heralds secured for KOI. You can see that Szygenda now finds himself with 1k gold lead. That's really where the gold advantage is sitting. Mid lane is pretty even with a 30 CS advantage. Just because of that kill sitting on Larssen's. Why do I say a kill sitting on Larssen?
How does a kill sit on you? Is that weighing on your soul?
It's like,
or is it just the gold?
Yeah, it's the
blood
gold.
money.
It's the gold. It's the money. Yeah, exactly. That money sitting in his pocket, I suppose I should say. Kobbe though, looking to secure the tower. Ooh, good ultimate.
The tower's nearly down. Comp staying alive for now though. Turret falls.
Comp, he's not too scared of that one. He knows he has Trymbi right behind him. The ultimate there as well has the heal too, so nothing too dangerous for him. The goal from Astralis was just to force Comp away so they could secure the tower. Now Dajor catching that top wave has the TP at his disposal. He's going to continue to scale up. Oh, English is not my forte today. 13 struck for Dajor. Levels coming through. Dragon spawning in about 1 minute and 20 seconds. And we can see that the objective setup is overall pretty strong on the side of Astralis. They've got a lot of vision just kind of at the entrances to the bot side of the map. Mainly just as kind of like not too deep vision, not to overcommit, but it also gives you opportunities to teleport, right? Okay, this ward not so much
you teleport to the blue drink. Yeah, that would be a hell of a change.
The idea is there. And Astralis, it's just that initial vision. You can see as well, JeongHoon does have double control ward. fully stacked up trinket as well. I see trinket. I'm supposed to call it the shard of true ice.
Is that what it is?
The ward thing is what I
I'm
call
always
it.
really bad with knowing the upgrade names
Yeah,
of
I
these
mean,
sport
Medic
items.
knows the names of all the things, and then I just come in with my QWER, and it's the ward thing, and it's the. And he's like, "How long have you been casting this game?" And I was like, "I don't know, like 7 years." And he's like, "You haven't learned the name?" And I was like, "It's the ward thing, okay, Medic?"
Yeah, the
People
ward thing.
know.
I'm pretty good with the Ornn items. I used to know all the Ornn item upgrades. That was a specialty for a while. It was almost a big thing for
I
a
just
long
call those
time.
the stronger Infinity Edge, stronger Trinity Force. It's
Infinity
fine.
Force.
In any case, that will be another tower going. Why do I need better English? A tower falls in favor of KOI. Let's see if a fight kicks off here.
Lots of time was available, but Malrang pulls the trigger. Cyclone coming down. Kobbe has got heal, and the final jump coming through. In comes Skull and Kled. Finn looking to make his mark in this game. However, Kobbe is dead. The stolen glacial prison puts Kobbe on ice. Down goes 1-1-3. JeongHoon goes down. The cat is skinned.
Wow, a phenomenal team fight from KOI and Larssen. He just came out of nowhere, steals 113's ultimate, catches Kobbe completely off guard. No flash was used. And with that initial execute and with Szygenda coming in from over the wall, KOI just wipe Astralis off the fight. And we talked about how the execution is so important for Astralis and how KOI just executed better. 20 minutes in, they secure a Baron.
It was a stalemate for so long this game. So even in a matter of moments, one fight in mid lane, it's Baron and KOI's game to lose.
Look at this. Look at how quickly the gold has swung all across the board. KOI find themselves with gold leads. When we get into the replay, I just want to keep my eyes on what exactly Larssen was up to. So he TPs into the back of the fight. The initial pick is good. Malrang threatening the back line, but he gets rooted up. Look at this. Steal away from 113. He flashes over. Oh, he doesn't even flash her. He lands the ultimate through the middle of the fight. No wonder Kobbe didn't see it, because I don't think anyone saw it. Incredible ultimate there from Larssen, and then with Szygenda coming over the wall. Yeah. The crowd erupts and roars as now the Dragon has been started.
Dragon started. Astralis want this as something of a consolation prize, and Dajor slides on over with the Soul and Bound and a Q3. He's just a Dragon, and now the shove in mid lane can continue because they've lost position in mid for that attempt on the Drake.
And they have. KOI can continue to siege here. Astralis will have to go the long way around as KOI continue to bully them off, steal away their camps. Will they be able to secure this one? I think they will. Larssen gonna pop Kobbe's ultimate. Just disengage from the fight, but that's 2 towers gained in exchange for the Dragon, and look at how quickly this gold is ballooned. 7k is the advantage. Now Dior's in danger.
Goes on to Szygenda with his own ultimate. There's Gnar coming though, will Q3 away. Over comes Malrang. Gnar available, won't use it here, but now the turnaround coming through. Charge from Kled. They are beginning to run at the speed of light. Szygenda Gnaring away. This time, it won't be left to chance, and Kobbe gets the kill.
Okay, good punish there from Astralis. Finn utilizing the mobility of his ultimate to very quickly collapse on the bot side, but look at this top lane tower. The cross map from KOI is good. Larssen using the Baron to secure them. Another tower means that he will walk away the victor, an even trade, or an even greater advantage, I would say, for KOI. Of course, you will get a small shutdown by securing that kill onto Szygenda, but KOI overall pretty happy.
Have a look again at that gold as it comes on through. It does feel like Comp in particular been very much the recipient of the gold as this game's gone, and we've seen exactly what Zeri does with gold leads. Huge advantage right now for the AD carry of KOI.
Yep. Not much else to add to that, really. 30 seconds left on the Baron. Comp working towards the Infinity Edge, getting closer and closer. Keeping my eyes on the board, like there aren't really many objectives to play for. Larssen going to use the empowered Blasco. Clear out this wave as quickly as he can.
Steals the Fate Sealed, will use it to get out from under the tower and misses the ult onto Dajor as well.
I think he preferred that option. He mainly just wanted to create space, buy a little bit of time. Does, of course, have the Zhonya's, so I don't think he was too stressed in the moment, which is why he was prepared to make that trade. And now the rest of his team is there. He can look to clear this one out.
And home goes Dajor, gets himself an Infinity Edge. Second item, a very big power spike for Yone, going to be doing significantly more damage now with that item complete.
Malrang bounced back very well. His only death, the one that happened at, well, 3 minutes into the game. Well, no, a little bit later than that, but
ill-advised rapid invade.
Ill-advised indeed. Comp getting closer. Oh, I say closer. He has his Infinity Edge, so...
very close. Right on him, in fact.
Yeah, one could say that he possesses the item, in fact. Mikhail's Crucible also picked up for Trymbi. No cleanse on Comp is something that we commented about Jack Spectre in the previous game, and now he'll have that extra bit of security from Trymbi in the event that the ultimate does in fact land from 113.
Yeah, between Ghost, Flash, his ult, lots of ways to try and stay safe on the Zeri, and already notoriously tricky champion to lock down. Szygenda finally clears out this tier 1 on the bot side, and gold continues to be very heavily in KOI's favor, and now they just look to set up camp in the enemy jungle and prevent Astralis from going anywhere outside from under their towers.
The game plan is pretty simple from KOI now. They just keep the pressure up. They don't have to overcommit to anything. Baron is up in a minute 50, Dragon's up in a minute 40. These are the objectives that you think about, talk about. Steal away as many camps as possible, continue to put pressure in the enemy's vision, clear out these waves as often as you can. And it's just about Astralis waiting for a moment of weakness, a small mistake, a misstep to come out from KOI that they could look to capitalize on, and you're seeing examples of that right now. Look, Finn and 113 sitting in a bush. The whole goal here is to just look for a pick. Maybe someone oversteps, maybe someone tries to pick a fight with Dajor. You're always kind of relying on these maybes in the hopes that you can turn it into something bigger. If you don't set yourselves up for these plays, then when these moments do occur, you won't be able to pounce on them. And at the pro level, they are few and far between, but when you're in this type of position, it's the best that you can really hope for.
Yeah, my eyes as well turn towards the side of Kobbe, who's not got that Infinity Edge yet, and with under a minute to go until the what would be potentially Chemsoul point for them. It says he have that goal to complete it. I don't think he will have it, so they might just give this one up and look to fight once that Infinity Edge is on the board for him, because that item discrepancy between the two AD carries will really hurt the big team fights.
So we're yet to see Dajor really get involved in the fight. Of course, he is very strong in the side lane, but the 5v5, it can be harder for Yone to have that impact, especially against a Lulu. Larssen a bit of trading, though.
Finn does have to use the ultimate to get on out of there.
Not ideal.
No.
Finn losing that means they won't be available for the Dragon. Astralis has already said may just choose to concede it. Smite comes down from Malrang to secure the red buff. But yeah, this is just a matter of Astralis weathering the storm as much as they can. Again, looking for picks, they're trying to find Larssen. He should be able to get away, and he'll do just that.
Baron as well, now spawning, so two big objectives on the board. KOI with the map control, KOI with the significant gold lead. It does feel like they're going to have their pick of the litter here on which objective they want to start at.
Just notice Finn having a bit of a scrap with Comp, and Astralis looking to dive onto Larssen. I don't think this is going to work though. Level 16 has the Kled ultimate. You can see Trymbi hovering around him as well, just shadowing in the fog of war, saying that, hey, if you're in danger, I can assist. You should be able to get away to safety. That tower's going to go down though, as they know that KOI is largely on the bot side of the map, securing that extra Drake. Larssen now looking for the fight.
Goes on in, starting to charge on board with that stolen ultimate. Dajor begins to respond with the Yuumi ultimate from JeongHoon on the other side. Kobbe is caught out by Malrang. Kobbe taken so low. A 1-1-3 falls. Kobbe dies as well. And Malrang's pounce onto the AD carry will allow Comp to run wild with a wild growth on top. A double kill for Larssen. Make that another for Comp. Finn falls as well, and KOI find another critical team fight that will lead to a Baron.
It's a complete ace. Astralis is completely wiped off the map. They don't even get the chance to team fight, and it all is kicked off by Larssen, the man in the mid lane. He started the fight 2 versus 5 with Trymbi at his side, but he knew that the collapse was coming in, and Malrang, deliberately or not, he found the perfect flank onto Kobbe. Astralis are just not given the windows to fight, and KOI is just demonstrating why they are still respected and considered such a strong team. And let's have a look back at this one. A reminder that this fight is started by just 2 people. You can see Trymbi and Larssen throw out the ultimate, trying to collapse onto 3, but it's this collapse from Malrang. The blast cone, Kobbe doesn't realize that he's just jumping into the arms of Malrang. There's nothing that you can do against this Wukong. Dajor tries to help JeongHoon too, but it's too little too late. The Sejuani dies in the river as well. And then it's just a matter of cleanup for KOI. Very well played team fight, very one-sided affair. And KOI is looking to secure a spot in the group stage.
Yeah, the moment Kobbe hit that blast cone and realized he basically landed on Wukong, it was probably not the best sign for Astralis. A bit of a highway to the danger zone, that one, and musical pun all intended. Now Astralis backs against the wall. Reminder again, KOI win this. They are into group stage. Astralis not done if they lose, but they will be looking anxiously at the result of the next game. SK and Fnatic coming up. Fnatic win. Tiebreaker to decide that final member of the group stage. Into the base, KOI begin to try and push. Mid lane tower already low. Larssen misses with the Glacial Prison. In goes Dajor looking to try and get some polymorphed immediately by Trymbi in this tower. Just won't stand us down, and KOI continue their march on toward what feels more and more like an inevitable victory.
Definitely feels that way. Finn trying to catch the wave before it's empowered by the Baron, but now it will be. That tower very low as well. KOI continuing the siege, and that will be another tower in their favor. KOI have the Nexus in their eyes, and they're continuing the push.
From summer champions to fighting for 8th place, KOI beginning to right the wrongs of the early parts of this split. It's been a clean game, it's been a controlled game, and maybe, just maybe, they can make everything all right in the next stage if only they can clean up the end of this game. Astralis, have you got anything left, any magic left in your stars, or is this one falling out of the night sky? Comp, a 4-item stopwatch is such a terror on this Zeri. Larssen as well. Szygenda building up towards a Mega Gnar. They're going to call it. This is it, a last gap. A charge of the Light Brigade, and the light is beginning to fade. It's a train at the end of this tunnel. And Szygenda gets Kobbe. This Sivir has just not been able to find a fight the entire game. KOI, all sins are forgiven. Welcome to groups.
A slow and steady early game into an explosive mid-game. KOI completely dominate the fights, and they will be making their way into the best of threes. Incredible stuff overall. A lot of credit needs to be given to Larssen in these fights. The initiator, the picks that he was finding, the flanks from Wukong as well, and Malrang. Yes, this has not been the best 9 games that we have seen from KOI. But I think that it is difficult to refute the potential that you continue to see from this team. And while they are inconsistent, the ceiling is still very real, and this is a team that I think any team will be afraid to go against in the best of 3.
Absolutely, and if they can continue to play like this, to continue to ramp up and put what was a rough few weeks, as we said, behind them, it's a fresh slate in a lot of ways. Yes, you'll be in a bit more of a tricky position in terms of where you get drawn in groups. It might be a little harder than it otherwise was, but they beat all the tough teams 6 months ago in Malmö. They ran that gauntlet. They won the whole tournament last time around. They could do it again. You know how much talent they've got on this roster.
For sure. KOI cementing themselves in the top 8, still seeding to be determined based on the remaining results of the day. But Astralis, not all doom and gloom just yet. There are some, depending on the results of the next game, will determine whether or not they play a tiebreaker. But Trevor will run you through those scenarios as he jumps onto the caster desk after us. But before we get to that, player of the game at LEC on Twitter, you need to go and vote. Szygenda, Larssen, and Comp are your options. Personally, for me, I think that Larssen was the standout this game. I thought his engages were incredible. I thought that his Sylas was also just on point in this game. And while he did have a quiet early game, his mid to late game team fights were just incredible.
Yeah, I completely agree. That Glacial Prison in the mid lane to catch the Sivir.
Oh, yeah.
Thing of beauty. I mean, I can understand Szygenda also played well into Finn. Comp, pretty strong on the Zeri. So, you know, you got a few options, but I think I'm there with you. Larssen feels like a great option.
Really good performance overall from KOI. And I'm excited to see them next week in the best of 3s. And as a reminder, the best of 3s are just next week.
I know. That's
so
wild.
We're immediately getting into the action. Next Saturday, all sorts of crazy stuff happening. We still have more games to play today. We are just getting ready for an interview very shortly. But yeah, things are already heating up. The Fnatic versus SK game that is coming up after this is one of the big ones of the day. That will largely determine how things will play out and who our top 8 will be.
It's been a while since an El Clasico has had this
An
much
El
on it.
Clasico,
I mean, that's an old reference.
An old school. Wow.
I've been watching this place for a while.
Oh, that's fair, man. A lot of fans probably won't understand that, and it's great that Quickshot's going to be the one to take you through that game, because he was there for the original El Clasico.
Well, enough from us. Let's throw over to Georgia, who's standing by with Malrang for an interview.
Thank you guys so much. Malrang, LEC 환영합니다.
감사합니다.
It's fantastic to finally have you here after a year and a half in an interview. congratulations on locking in top 4 as well. Top 8, sorry.
Thank you. But my English is, I think, not so good still. So, yes, I don't know.
Do we get an applause for the try? So this game was a very low kill score game for you, Malrang, that you like to fight and brawl in the early game. But for the majority of it, you had 100% kill participation, and your flank at Baron was what solidified the victory. Give me your thoughts on this game.
Oh, I mean, I wanted to fight level 3, but Kled is so strong. So, yes, but I think just late game engage was fine, so I think it's good today.
You had fantastic flanks that helped a lot your team in the team fights. Now, of course, Malrang, you're coming in. You had a fantastic year last year. You won the LEC with Rogue, now KOI. But we've seen a few struggles now at the beginning. How do you feel now that you've locked in? How do you see the team going into that top 8?
한글로 해야 되나요?
네, 이제 작년에 우승하고도 거의 혼자서 이유미 다 바꿨는데 이제 이번 시즌 조금 더 어렵고 그래도 이제 플레이오프까지 올라가는데 그거 한마디.
일단 메타가 바뀐 것도 있고 다른 팀들 로스터도 다 좋아서 조금 그랬던 것 같아요.
So he says on one hand there was a change in the meta that he had to, and the team of course had to adapt to. But on the other hand, all the other teams also got all really good rosters. So he thinks that this definitely played a part this season for them.
I love that you mentioned good rosters. Malrang, you took Europe by storm last year. You brought a new jungle thinking, you brought a new jungle playstyle, you changed a lot of people's playstyle in the jungle. Now with players like Bo and Yai coming in, is that pushing your playstyle at all?
I don't think so, but just jungle some change and champion meta, I think is so for me. I guess, yes.
You're not a big fan of Sejuani?
I don't like Sejuani, so
Fair.
yes.
All right, now of course looking in, what are your expectations? What do you take from these first 3 weeks into the group stage, into the best of 3s?
Okay.
이제 이번에 그룹 스테이지에서 하면서 배우는 점이 이제 플레이오프까지 올라가니까 그거 가져오는 부분 있나요?
I'm not sure. Just for me, just same everything, I think.
Okay, so level 2 gank every game?
Not every game, but
Okay.
yes.
Well, Malrang, kamsahamnida.
Thank you.
Ule, thank you so much for the translation. We're going to toss it over to the desk where Laure is standing by with Nymaera and Szygenda.
Thank you so much, Trouble. I'm really happy we get to have Korean interviews now in the LEC, as long as Chinese interviews, of course, when we talk to Vitality. But let's react to this game. First, Szygenda, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the desk. Congrats on making groups also. You guys are granted 7th now. And a bit of an update, because with this victory, Team Heretics are locked for 6. It is not going to move for them, so that's the standings as we have them right now. Szygenda, how was this game? We talked about KOI and the difficulties you guys have been experiencing since the beginning of the season. This one was rather convincing, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It was kind of easy, like, even though...
Easy, wow!
No, but, like, I was pretty nervous coming into today, since, like, we had a chance to not make top 8, so I was pretty nervous, and then we just kind of stomped, so it was easy and nice.
Some words on Kled, because I know that it's a signature pick for Finn, of course. It didn't have the expected effect here, I want to say.
Well, I think the Kled pick, it was like, they have Sejuani Kled, so they can look to kill me for like 2v2's early game until like minute or level 7. After level 7, he's kind of outskilled. If I get Tabis in level 7, I'll just run away and he'll be useless, so I didn't die and he was useless.
So
it's like,
I think our read on this matchup before the draft even came in is that both of these teams like to kind of fight towards the objectives, maybe chill a little bit in the solo lanes and kind of like fight around 1 or 2 really big fights, which is kind of what we saw this game come around to. However, we do have one clip of what you were saying in terms of saying, actually, what is the threat early game? We saw Astralis tried to go towards that top lane, and you kind of 1v2'd long enough for your team to turn up. Was this something that you were kind of like prepared to do in terms of like try and outplay these situations? How did you feel when you saw this play happening?
Well, should I talk while it's playing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What did you feel?
I know, okay, my boys, they want to take Herald, and I'm like, I want to push the wave first, so I just kind of flip it.
You had more than enough HP.
And then, okay, I knew like Sejuani's for sure hovering around if he's going in, so I just tried to outplay. It was really lucky. I was like, obviously not calculated. I was 1 HP, so yeah, it was pretty lucky, but it worked out, so I looked pretty good.
Yeah, flashy play. The Szygenda, as we used to call you in the LFL.
The Szygenda.
I'm really happy to have you back in the LEC, Szygenda. Last time you were in the LEC, didn't go so well and so smoothly. How much have you grown since then, and how do you feel right now within KOI?
I think I actually did okay. I was middle tier back then. I was just getting hated on because I was fat. So yeah, now I'm doing better. I didn't do the best yet, but we are doing better. And we'll do better, I'll do better. So just look forward to it in the future.
Yeah. The best is yet to come, of course, for KOI. We'll get to see you perform in the next stage. How do you guys feel as a team right now in terms of synergy, communication? Because when I kept on talking to Trymbi, Larssen, and the rest of the team, especially about changing top lane, they kept on saying that it didn't impact the dynamic of the team so much, but it feels like you guys, it took some time for you guys to find each other as a team. And Trymbi was mentioning some, I don't want to say trust issues, but
confidence,
maybe. Confidence, thank you. Confidence issues so far. So would you say that it's behind you now?
I don't think it's my fault. I think it was...
Oh, no.
For the record, that's it.
Yeah, like the team changed. I think the boys, after winning last year, they got a little complacent in off-season. My VoD lane, they were... In the start of scrims, they were really bad. So yeah, it's not my fault.
Yeah.
I think we'll do good because they're starting to play good. They're starting to play better. And if they start to play like they did last year, we'll win. If they have a rough start, then it is what it is. We'll do better. And I think it's mostly on them just being good. I'll do my thing. I'll just chill and play top lane.
Just chill, play top lane. I trust you to keep them grounded and keep them focused for the rest of the LEC, Szygenda. Let's focus a bit more on the next game. SK versus Fnatic. Really important match for Fnatic in their chance of locking in a tiebreaker. You've played both teams. Who do you think is going to take this one and why?
Well, I expect SK to win.
Oh. I think, yeah, it's...
Fnatic look pretty bad now.
Yeah.
So it's like pretty easy SK prediction on paper. It'll like obviously Fnatic kind of sad they go out, but who cares? Astralis in, that's PogChamp.
Yeah, because of course, like that is the implication of this. Fnatic lose, there is no tiebreaker at the end of the day, which means that Astralis do make it through. Looking at this matchup in particular, we've talked an awful lot about how Fnatic have been struggling. I think the line which we had earlier was, it is a team which is less than the sum of its parts. I think you look at this roster, you look at this name brand, you expect them to do well, you expect excellence from the team. They've really struggled to do that. I think one thing for me, which I am looking a little bit more worried about them from, last year when Fnatic were doing well, particularly in spring, we talked a lot about how Humanoid was leading the team through mid-game. For me, that's been one of their weakest areas so far, when they actually haven't been connecting through mid-jungle, through jungle support, stuff like that. When you were playing them, did it feel like they were disconnected on the Rift to you, Fnatic? Did that really come across to you in game?
No, I think they just sucked in early game. Like, we lost to them because we really trolled. So I cannot blame too much. But they're really bad in early game, so they usually just get so far behind that they cannot play the game, and that's the main issue. Also, like, draft looks to be some champ pool issues, and a lot of players don't want to play him, but a lot of them.
I mean, that's a lot of issues stacking up in such a short time to fix them. We'll see if they can make it, of course, after the break. But for now, Szygenda, thank you so much for joining us today. Congrats on reaching out the next stage. And we will see you in just a couple minutes for SK versus Fnatic. Will Fnatic stay alive? Stay tuned to find out.
Nope.